But yeah, I remember seeing the fallout of that, and sadly, the driver lost his ride after that whole thing, and he was suspended from the series for a calendar year, so he can't come back until January next year if he does.
Yeah. Well, that teaches you a lesson, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope he can come back from this, but looking back, though, I agree with the penalty because those cars can be dangerous, even the 45 miles per hour ones, especially in NASCAR.
What size of track were they running on?
It was a very tiny one. It was a very tiny oval. And so, yeah, the speeds were really high,
Yeah.
And, there are some tracks. I mean, I remember watching that video when that incident happened, and I thought it was awfully too small of a track for all those go-karts to compete on. You might remember, but over a decade ago, Dan Weldon passed away in that horrific Las Vegas accident, and there were complaints at the time, about the speed of the Indy cars, which had risen. But I honestly thought after looking at that whole ordeal, because remember, they had like 1 or 2 extra cars in the field that day than they normally did. And so I thought it was just too many cars on such a small racetrack, and I think that was a big part of why that accident happened, not just the speed. But yeah, that's just my theory.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I don't know. Wow, it's crazy. I've never driven an Indy car, but I'm sure it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I admire the people that do, because they're actually way more powerful than NASCAR a little bit. They're way more powerful in speed, I mean. I think the highest they've gone is 240. So, yeah, I must ask, what was driving those few races for Michael Waltrip like before your Daytona debut?
Oh, I mean, it was great. I mean, to have somebody of his caliber at the time be able to give me a chance to run was great, but it'll go back to anytime you're running a limited situation. You got one shot here, one shot there. It definitely puts against you. I mean, I always looked at it like not having a full season, and I think for any young driver now, stay where you are. If you're running full-time, I don't care at what level, stay where you are and then move up when you have the opportunity to run consistently another full season. Because when you run here and there, you're out there competing with everybody that's running every weekend, all the time, with the team. So it's always an adjustment, but I have no regrets about having the opportunity there to do that. And the way I looked at it, like, I may not have the best equipment or the best situation or a full-time one, but how am I going to get there other than take the chance to do this or that? So that's the way I looked at it back then. But like I said, it's a lot different. Yeah.
So what happened after you retired? I heard you had some health issues with cancer. Is that right?
Yes, I did. Gosh, I think it was 2014 that I was diagnosed. And honestly, I swear that my brain has kind of erased that time. But I was diagnosed with, it was kind of between stage 3 and 4 breast cancer, and lymph node. It traveled. So that's, stepped it up a little bit. And so I had a lot of rounds of chemo. And then during that process, some things happened. I had some reactions. So my oncologist had me do surgery and then do more chemo. And then I did radiation at the end after that. But it was about 2.5 years of treatment. And I will say that right now, I say that I'm great. Life couldn't be better. But my significant other, husband, we've been together for 7 years, has been diagnosed with colon rectal cancer. And he's going through chemo. At the moment, we're, doctor's appointments every other day and trying to figure things out. And I just can't tell you it changes the person that you are. You are never the same, but you look at how, I mean, I'm grateful for the fact now that I've been so many years free. Like now I only have to go once a year, where I would have to go every 3 months to get scanned. And now I'm at that point where I'm at once a year where I don't have to go get things done. I'm at that normal place. But also, right after I was done with my treatment, and my son, at 19 years old, was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He went through chemo, and, lost some things and had a hard time dealing with it. He's cancer-free now, which we are so grateful for. But again, it changed his life. And it's a tough thing to go through. And we were lucky that he found it at 19 and was able to tell his dad, because that's kind of the one you go to when you feel something in that area. You want to tell somebody. And so we immediately got him scanned and found that he had that. And then with going through it now with Phil, I am just hoping that things go well and we can get to the point to where he can have surgery and get through that. And I'm grateful for the people when I was going through it that supported me. And there's many, but Kelly Earnhardt was one that really helped me get through it in a lot of ways. And also Ray and Aaron Evernham hired me to remodel a condo of theirs in Amelia Island, San Bernardino Beach area, while I ended up going through radiation at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. And I worked that whole job and went to radiation for 28 days in a row and hired a crew, remodeled a house, and those things helped me get through it. And they understood. I'm like, what? You realize I'm still going through treatment? And they're like, yeah, are you up for it? And I said, absolutely. And they would understand that there might be a day that I'm not my best and that I might, need to lay down for a little while, or I'm not feeling great. But I'll tell you, the days were more productive because I had a project. And so that's what I'm doing now is full design, a lot of new builds, a lot of remodels. And prior to that, I was doing furniture and had my own furniture that I was selling, which was called Happy Chair. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just doing now the design. And then with Phil going through treatment, it's kind of been a little bit of a struggle to kind of keep things going, but I'm doing the best that I can, and I've got a lot of good people that support me.
That's great to hear. I'm glad you guys survived. Cancer is a B.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took away my grandfather.
Well, it took away a very, very, very special good friend of mine, Sherry Pollex, who had pretty much changed the world as far as ovarian cancer. And what she did, and losing her was a very sad day. And that girl put her heart and soul into making sure that there were changes and that things happened to help women that are struggling with ovarian cancer. And I'm very fortunate to say that she was a dear friend.
Yeah, she was very, very brave. I followed her cancer battle, and I was really sad when I heard what happened, and I wondered why she and Martin had broken up, but when she died, I made an educated guess. That was really sad.
That was a tough one, and they were together for years and had their life, which was a very good one, and one that just, unfortunately, she struggled as much as she could, but she fought every minute, every single second of that battle.
Yeah. You know who she really reminded me of, although it was a different area of that kind of thing? She reminded me of Alex Zanardi, that driver that lost his legs in an Indy car accident.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
I never put that comparison, but yeah, there's somebody that that struggled and accomplished things.
He did, and then years later, he got into another accident and is still pushing forward. It's almost like Alex Zanardi is brave and is just pushing on no matter what is thrown at him, you know? And that's what Sherry did during her final years.
There's amazing people out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, you know. There's really a lot of amazing people, and sometimes there's a diamond in the rough, you know. You never know what life's going to throw at you, you know. You could have somebody on the autism spectrum, you know, go through struggles with addiction, obesity, probably 400 pounds max, and maybe he'll meet like an actor who offers him, you know, coaching and mentorship, and maybe that transforms his own world, and you never know. He could end up meeting the actor's also acting son, who might get a role in a Western movie and be nominated for an Oscar, and maybe at the Oscar nominations there'll be an interesting event that happens between two actors, and the actor's son, probably named Cody, you know, gets stunned by it and then comes up second in the Oscars category and goes on to become a model, and maybe the person on the autism spectrum ends up going to start a podcast. You know, you never know what life's going to throw at you.
Yeah.
You never know what life's going to throw at you.
Well, I think that it's pretty amazing that you've taken things and ran with it and made accomplishments of your own. And it's pretty cool to be talking to you. I'm glad you gave me a call.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and that's probably a good time to wrap it up. We're nearing an hour, but yeah, thank you for coming on to SFM. And where can people find you?
They can find me at ShawnaRobinson.com. It still pretty much shows my furniture. I really need to get in there and update it to a lot of the design work. I haven't showed near the projects that I've done, but I've gone on to do some amazing houses and worked with amazing clients. And so need to work on that, but you can still find me at ShawnaRobinson.com, and if you send me a message through there, at this point, I'm the one who gets it. If you want anything signed, I can let you know an address to do that if they email me, but yep, that's pretty much it.
Sounds good. So, yeah, everybody, please check out Shawna Robinson on her website. If you want an autograph from her, reach out to her, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And also, guys, make sure you're clear to Shawna that you don't want the house flipped upside down.
Exactly. That's a good thing, and I'll always pretty much make sure I don't let that happen.
Yeah, just make sure of it. You never know how people will react to that.
That's
all right.
Funny. Well, I've enjoyed our talk. I've enjoyed the show.
Yep, I'm glad to hear that. So everybody, we'll see you next time on SFM.